So I wanted to hear about this, The Real Wild World of Diddy by Tunde.
Remember when Diddy got angry at 50 Cent for saying he slept with a rapper?
Get your hand out my pocket, man. Get your hand out my pocket. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing on the channel. Get your hand out my pocket, man. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I see, yo. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. Nah, look at me, man. I see what you're doing, man. Yeah, you gonna make me. Okay, I'm telling you right now. On I Want to Work for Diddy, I'm gonna physically put my hands on somebody for the ratings.
And yeah, that's not it. Remember that time Diddy was slapping Jay-Z like this?
Jay was like, hey, yo, chill.
Camaraderie, maybe some good brotherly love, I don't know. But remember that time when Justin Bieber was doing this to Odell Beckham at Diddy's party?
I don't see what he's doing, though. I don't see what he's doing.
What in the world was Justin Bieber just doing? And this is not even it.
Looks like he was just standing there to me.
Diddy was inebriated. I mean, drunk out of his mind.
I've seen this clip so many times.
Saying this.
Yeah, I love this drink. I like when you like this, Daddy. Yeah, where you put my bag? Daddy, I like when you
and they're just like, what?
I like that. Did you miss me though? For real, because I'm saying it seems like a thing. It's his birthday party, man. But I'm talking about for your birthday. Huh? Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
And when he was asked about it, he played ignorant and foolish.
We segueing into the Drink Champs interview when you was with Nori, Fab, and Jada, and everybody.
He was like,
because they said you were sounding real suspect on the interview.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Of course, I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I swear to God.
Come on, man. You saw that on World Star and on the gram.
Check this out. When they started playing the game, the pause game, I would definitely.
That came from Harlem too.
Yeah, came from Harlem. I definitely.
You said some such shit.
Would say some. Oh my! Ooh, the crowd would be like, "Whoa! Did he just say that?" You know what I'm saying? I don't play.
You
games.
said some such shit. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. I don't play games. But yeah.
Did you
compilation? Nah, I was coming off of being in Miami a night of party, and I don't really remember what I was saying.
Instead of Diddy to accept that his happiness is too big to fit inside the closet, I think he needs to bring it out and let it shine. I mean, he would rather put his ball of fist, but he would rather fist fight Usher over some type of milk.
Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to
I think he talked too much on this one. Look at Usher. Usher just like, oh man, bro, stop saying this shit.
Yo, what the did Puff just say?
And the details of Diddy's lawsuit has been crazy. I mean, details pointing to him blowing up cars, several of his freak offs.
Wait, let me see that.
Details pointing to him blowing up cars.
Sean Diddy Combs accused of blowing up Kid Cudi's car for sleeping with his former girlfriend, R&B singer Cassie. God, it's a good thing he wasn't in there.
Several of his freak-off parties with very young, innocent-minded women present, alcohol drinks that were tampered with, and many more ungodly, unsafe things. I mean, if it weren't for these lawsuits, we wouldn't even know that Diddy had a personal hitman. I mean, people who made people and problems disappear. But the thing that baffles me is how come Diddy didn't see this coming? He's smart to make $1 billion, but not smart to see that what he was doing would lead to his downfall? Could his psychopathic tendencies be from what happened to his dad when he was young? Or was it the money that twisted Diddy all along the way? And what was he doing with Justin Bieber and Usher just at the age of 10? And what other powerful people might this implicate if Diddy ever goes down? Diddy's party eyewitnesses. On February 9th, 2022, Vice, the media company, posted a snippet of a manager who revealed what it was like working at a hotel. First, he spoke about the hotel experience.
The hotel industry is a wild experience that helps you understand.
I like how Vice does this, like with the mask and like the whole covering the identity of the person. That shit's pretty cool. And the voice changer and shit, that's pretty dope.
and how disconnected the wildly wealthy are.
Second, he said he saw the darker side of humanity, as rich men were often involved in some of the sickest things.
I've seen the darker side of humanity: suicides, murders, spousal abuse, human trafficking.
Soon after quitting his job, he's traumatized and he recalls how sick that made him feel.
That shit stays with you for a long time.
And obviously, with all of that money to their name and nothing else to do, the very rich men were doing the most depraved, the most diabolical things everywhere.
They get bored when they have a shit ton of money, so they see what they can do with people's lives. That's what becomes entertaining to them, I guess. So when they have so much money, they can buy whatever they want and go wherever they want. They had to seek other forms of entertainment, and that's playing with people's lives.
I mean, even though they had beds that were soft like Tempur-Pedic, they did it on balconies, sinks, tables, and even plate racks. And if there was anything that had a surface, they were on it too. But when I saw this, it was something that sounded a little too familiar.
We're here with the lovely and talented Jamie Foxx. Jamie, what's a day in the life of Jamie Foxx? What's it like in the foxhole? What's it?
The foxhole?
This is
That
American
sounds
actor
odd.
and comedian Jamie Foxx on the Late Night Show on May 16th of 2018. Because he had went to a party that was similar to the one we had just described, he had a lot to say.
I would hang out and watch him throw parties.
Sure, he famously threw his white party out.
Bro, he would throw a party. One point, I went to Philly, followed him all the way to Philly. He threw a party, and he said, "Yo, Playboy, this party costs $1.5 million."
Jamie Foxx was at this party, and he described that the people he saw while he was at this party were some of the most famous people that we all knew.
Here's what's crazy: the people at the party. Puff at that time had a room. Missy Elliott had a room. Dum, 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 you know what I'm saying? Dum, 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 dum. And standing on the wall, nobody knew who he was. Guess who it was? It was Jay-Z.
However, what
Jay-Z, Puff, Missy Elliott was there.
Sounded a little too familiar. Another person, KeiD, would go on to describe a disturbing party that he once went to.
The art of dialogue.
Diddy and Tupac were just like couples.
Puff and Tupac was like a couple, seemed like to me.
And as KeiD struggled to explain everything that went on in that party, he ended it by saying there were a lot of weird, unexplainable, and ungodly things going on.
It's just a lot of.
Now, real quick, the whole thing about them looking like a couple, is it like camaraderie, like brotherhood type of camaraderie, like in Japan, where like they're cool with like getting into one of those fucking hot tub things, everybody, and then everybody just fucking naked and just sitting there chilling? Or is it more like the couple things as like they were booed up type couple type thing, like
A lot of weird shit, dude. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
What was going on behind the scenes, right? What could
onsen, that's what it's called in Japan. Instead of the hot tubs, it's onsen.
Could possibly be happening at this party? What was happening at these Diddy parties? And who are these people that were involved? As a result of this, on the day of Monday, March 25th, 2024, Diddy's house would be raided.
The Department of Homeland Security conducting a raid at a house in Holmby Field Hills, believed to be connected to Sean Colmes, the rapper and music executive, perhaps being linked to a sex trafficking investigation.
Evidently,
It's a big
Diddy
house.
was a billionaire, rap mogul, and known all across the world. So, as you might expect, helicopter cameras were on scene Monday afternoon as dozens of federal agents simultaneously raided Diddy's mansion. They made their way towards the mansion's main entrance, broke through the house, marched in, and turned it upside down. After a few hours, a video later resurfaced showing Diddy's bedroom. I mean, it was torn apart. Wires and cords appeared to be checked.
Yeah, they
Cabinets
tore that
and
shit
safes were
apart.
left open, drawers were cracked open, boxes filled with gun ammos were broken, and even previously won Grammy awards were left out like mere trash.
Man, just like high key, like if that ever happened, and then like let's say I was in that position and nothing was found and I was in it and all that shit, I would hate to have to clean this shit up. I would hate to have to hire someone to clean that shit up. I would hate to be the person hired to clean that shit up. Like, damn, bruh.
Outside was paparazzis with cameras, Fox News reporting live, and many FBI agents coasted outside. I mean, Diddy was in some hot shit. And while this appeared to be one hell of a scene, it was. It seemed that they were looking for something. But what was this thing that they were looking for? Before we talk about that, we have to first see what happened after this raid, which was what happened to Diddy's private jet. Diddy's private jet.
I think he was trying to leave the state, but he got found first or something.
Black excellence, all black everything, all black crew, greatest pilots in the world.
All
Yes,
black
sir.
everything.
While feds raided Diddy's house,
Lupe
his
Fiasco.
private jet was flown to an island called Antigua in the Caribbean. Many questioned if Diddy was on board. Some said he was, others said he wasn't. Yet nobody knew.
Photos obtained by ABC News capturing Colmes' Love Airjet in
I'm pretty sure he wasn't, because he was later found at another airport somewhere else. So maybe he was just trying to, like, you know, pull a fast one, do a quick, you know what I'm saying, quick maneuver. You look one way, I go the other type of thing. But I don't know.
Antigua. No information about who, if anyone, was on the plane.
But this photo was taken. It was of Diddy's private jet, and it was posted and shared all over social media because everybody was wondering, where was Diddy? Many assumed that he was on board, but while you're wanted by the feds, Antigua would be the worst place to go. This is because Antigua has extradition laws with the US against criminals, meaning if you were to commit a crime and you fled to Antigua, maybe thought Antigua was gonna save your ass. Antigua
It expedites you, send you back.
to the US because of the law that they have, extradition laws. They will ship your ass right back to the United States to serve your sentence. This was what happened to El Chapo's son. He was caught in Mexico, but was sent to the US, extradited, just so he can serve his life sentence. This is why I think it wouldn't be smart if Diddy was to flee to Antigua if he wanted to flee. Now, if he fled to a country like, say, China, Indonesia, maybe Iceland, or maybe far in Europe like Belarus or something, you know, those countries with no extradition treaty, I think that would be a much safer option. And it will cause me to believe that Diddy did flee, but I think he's still in the United States. I actually don't think he went anywhere. I think the private jet was actually a distraction tactic to bring attention from him to something else. But it didn't work because look at all of this. We're all here talking about Diddy, right? But with that FBI raid, I can't
So it kind of did work then.
continue to think about what they were looking for. The missing tapes. At this point, I'm sure the stakes were high for Diddy. His house had been raided, and he's probably laying low. He's probably pulling his connections together, trying to get out of this mess. But inside Diddy's party, what was truly going on that deserved this much of a raid, let alone this much of noise on CNN, ABC, and every mainstream media that you can find? Why was Diddy so hot? Apparently, they were looking for some tapes. Previously, on November 20th, 2016, Kanye West went on a 15-minute rant. He was live on stage in front of thousands of people.
I thought they did find some tapes. I don't know if they find the tapes they're actually looking for, but I thought they did find some tapes from like other parties.
It was one heck of a crazy experience. Phones were held up in the sky, and Kanye West was on a floating stage. Yet, with this scenery, the things that were about to come next would be totally unexpected. Kanye began naming names. He said that he was putting his life on the line for this. And at last, Kanye admitted that billionaires had killers. And this story of Kanye matters because when he said billionaires like Jay-Z had killers, nobody believed him. Yet, people were quick to call him crazy, quick to say he had a nervous breakdown. And as a result of that rant, Kanye was put in the hospital.
Kanye West is waking up in a Los Angeles hospital where he's now under observation, reportedly for exhaustion and stress.
And while we can argue that Kanye went crazy or not, if you look at today, especially the lawsuits and allegations surrounding Diddy, the things that Kanye said, aren't too far off, right? Especially with the topic of billionaires and killers. In the parties of Diddy.
I mean, I don't doubt that Jay-Z got that, especially the billionaires, but I don't doubt Jay-Z got killers. Because like, I don't remember the video that I watched, but it was talking about how during Jay-Z's rise, when people were in his way, like they would suddenly, vanish or die off. So I don't doubt that billionaires have killers, but I don't doubt, what I'm saying? They definitely got something. So I don't think Kanye's crazy on that.
A thick 75-page lawsuit indictment paper is filed against him, not only Sean Colmes, who is Diddy, Justin Dior Colmes, who is his son, Ethiopia Habtemariam, former CEO of Motown Records, Lucien Charles Grange, who might not be the CEO of Universal Music Group anymore after this, Christina Karam, the day-to-day manager of Diddy, Charlie's Recording Studios in Los Angeles, California, Love Records, Diddy's own child label with a very odd looking logo, Motown Records, Diddy's own.
I'm not sure how that's an odd looking label because it kind of just reminds me of like the Adidas almost, but I don't know. I don't know.
Child label with a very odd looking logo.
But he said child label? That's kind of weird though, because why would you have a child label and name it Love Records? Then you have a Love Jet. That's a little odd to me.
Motown Records, Universal Music Group, the entire Colmes Global Enterprise. Which is
the Love Records looks just like the Motown one. All right.
Records, Universal Music Group, the entire Colmes Global Enterprise, which is a portfolio of Diddy's businesses, Anonymous John and Jane Doe's, and lastly, ABC Corporations. These allegations were from a man named Rodney, who was born and raised in Chicago with a musical background, who met Diddy because he was really a skilled producer, producing several songs on Diddy's rhythm and blues album titled The Love Album. Soon after accepting to work for Diddy, Rodney's life changed for the worst. Because the album was such a large project, Rodney lived with Diddy for a year and a month from September 2022 to November 2023, spending holidays, birthdays there, and even missing major family events. Rodney spent several weeks on Diddy's yacht, rented by Diddy. He witnessed, experienced, and lived and, quote, saw many things that went far beyond his role as a producer. Through this entire year of living with Diddy, Rodney was able to go on Diddy's yachts, and these yachts had phones with 4K cameras present, meaning there were a lot of recordings and photos taken of things that were happening on his yacht. I mean, we're talking audio recordings of Diddy, his staff, and every one of his athlete friends.
Wait, let me read this whole thing. Summary of events, 22 from September 22nd to November 23rd. Mr. Jones, November 2023. Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Colmes' Love album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Colmes for months at a time, spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Colmes' residence. Wait, missing major family events too? Damn, you couldn't even go to those? Holy shit, was he just not letting you, or was he just, or did you dedicate yourself that hard to working on the album? Or was it a mixture of both? Like, for you to work on the album, you would have to dedicate yourself to the point where you would miss major family events. Either way, damn, bruh. Or maybe you were like an introvert and just didn't want to go to those family events. Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Colmes' residence located in Los Angeles, California, New York City, and Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones spent several weeks at a yacht rented by Mr. Colmes in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Colmes, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. Some of those parties, maybe? The claims raised in this complaint have been corroborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. Okay, so he was secretly taping some shit? Or did he like steal some tapes? I don't know. Mr. Colmes required Mr. Jones to record him. To record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Colmes took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Colmes, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. Shit, yo. Telling on yourself on a whole nother level. Like rappers tell on themselves in songs, billionaire producers tell on themselves by recording footage. Mr. Jones secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy. Have I tried that before? I think I have. No, I haven't. Cocaine? Haven't. GHB? Haven't. Ketamine? Haven't. Marijuana? Hell yeah! And mushrooms. I can, but I haven't. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms.
Billionaire friends, very powerful people engaging in serious career-ending illegal activities. I was curious, so I read the entire 75 pages, and it was indeed crazy. Like, the word crazy is an understatement for how bad this is. And this is because it takes you into the world of really powerful and corrupt people. There were tactics of control and dominion used against other people.
Okay, Mr. Jones had no desire to visit a booby trap on the river. What the fuck is visit booby trap on the river? What the hell is that? Hold on. Booby trap on the river. It's got an Instagram page, but it says something went wrong. Even Kodak Black looks like it has a song about it or something. Looking in features, right? Let's see, Booby Trap on the River Home. I guess this is it. Oh. Okay, so it's like a party area. Shit. I mean, I don't know why the guy wouldn't want to visit there, but hey, if he doesn't want to visit there, shit. He doesn't want to visit there. I might visit there on my own time. I'm just saying, look for you interesting. Anyway, Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit sex workers from Booby Trap on the River. Oh shit. Mr. Colmes used, I didn't know there was sex worker there too though. Mr. Colmes used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting sex workers from Booby Trap on the River. As detailed below, Mr. Colmes used many tactics to maintain domination and control of Mr. Jones. So I guess Mr. Jones couldn't go to those major family events even if he wanted to. Like, he would just be like, nah, you're not allowed to go. Like Diddy would just be like, nah, bro, not going. You're coming with me. You're gonna keep doing this shit. Apparently these workers were accustomed to servicing Mr. Colmes and would know that he is in town by the sight of the Bad Boys baseball cap. The following are Instagram profiles of two of the sex workers that Mr. Colmes required Mr. Jones to solicit and have sex with at his home in Miami, Florida. Damn. Well, if they're clean, then you know what I'm saying. At least that, right?
Corrupt people. There were tactics of control and dominion used against other people. Things like promising someone a Grammy nomination.
Bro, come on, stop. Mr. Colmes used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. I didn't know grown men could be groomed, but I guess they can. I thought grooming was only used to identify like men trying to groom people who are younger. But I guess it can be used. I guess grooming can happen to people that are older as well, like grown people as well. But entice Mr. Jones into engaging in homosexuality. So all those, you know what I'm saying, all those stories about Diddy having, you know, intercourse with dudes, obviously there's well, I guess this kind of backs that up, that like, yeah, he was actually doing that shit, because people could still be like, nah, Diddy wasn't doing that shit. But yep. Anyway, Mr. Colmes went so far as to share a video of Stevie J anally penetrating a Caucasian male without a condom. This was done to ease Mr. Jones to share a video of Stevie J doing it. This was done to ease Mr. Jones' anxiety concerning homosexuality, according to Mr. Colmes. So he made him watch gay porn, basically, and to ease Mr. Jones into doing things with Stevie J. According to Mr. Colmes, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Okay, look, even Stevie J is doing it. Mr. Colmes informed, when I start doing music, I'm gonna stay independent. Mr. Colmes informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper Blank, R&B singer Blank, and Stevie J. R&B singer, could that be Usher? And rapper, could that be Meek Mills? Mr. Colmes promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year, using that authority over him, using that influence over him, at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. The following are screenshots of the video of Stevie J anally penetrating a Caucasian male that Mr. Colmes provided to Mr. Jones. Well, remember how Cat Williams, I'm pretty sure he said like Diddy wanted to see something about offered something to Cat Williams, and Cat Williams just said no. And he's like, you gotta say no. Shit, yo.
Nation of Producer of the Year to do really sick things, and then offering them $250,000 to do things that are, let's just say, not safe for YouTube, right? These photos, who are off the streets, whom Diddy required Jones to have his way with at his home in Miami, Florida. With the tattoos, I'm sure someone on the internet has found them. There were album listening parties held.
Let's see. On or about July 2nd, 2023, last year, in California, Mr. Colmes had a listening party at his home. Present at this party was R&B artist Usher, maybe? Jay Colmes, so I guess Diddy's son, sex workers, and some underage girls. This could also be Bieber's a pop artist, I guess. The event began at 7 p.m. Mr. Colmes requested female sex workers and required Mr. Jones to solicit them. An hour later, several sex workers appeared. In addition to sex workers, there were at least 5 women in the crowd that were under the age of 16. Bro, what the fuck? Mr. Colmes forced all the women, so even the underage ones, to drink laced Deleon liquor. What was it laced with? Upon information and belief, Mr. Colmes laced the liquor with ecstasy. Okay. Mr. Colmes did not check the identification of any of these underage girls. The presence of these underage women made Mr. Jones very uncomfortable, as it should. He attempted to leave, and Mr. Colmes forced him to stay. Mr. Colmes went so far as to take Mr. Jones' car keys to prevent him from leaving. After being forced to drink laced Deleon shots with Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones began feeling lightheaded and recalls passing out and waking up at 4 a.m. the following morning, naked, with a sex worker sleeping next to him. Shit. Screenshots of a video from that night is embedded below.
In Diddy's home, and multiple young adults that weren't even the age of 18. It's reported that there were at least 5 women in the crowd. At these listening parties that were under the age of 16, and Diddy is here seen with one of them. At these parties, 16, and Diddy is here.
Mr. Colmes with an underage female sex worker, and
seen with one of them. At these parties, bottle.
The event began at 7 p.m. Mr. Colmes requested female sex worker. Okay, wait, we already read that. Yeah, we already read all this.
Bottles of De Leon, Diddy's own liquor brand, were tampered with and contaminated with something called Tusi. It's a party powder, right? And as a result, they felt lightheaded and passed out due to the potency. There were picture proofs of these listening events, like this one. Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Gene, a long time ago, had detailed how Diddy used the spiked drinks such as orange and cranberry juices with these party powders.
Especially if they like mixed drinks, you understand? They see the bottles when they open them, and they trying to keep their eyes on because they don't want to get no kind of drugs put in their system. But what they don't understand is in the orange juice and it's in the cranberry juice.
You better bring your own drinks. You better not drink anything that's at that party. Fuck that shit.
The Rodney Jones indictment continues that Diddy
Mr. Colmes attempts to pass off Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Colmes was grooming him to pass him off to his friend. This fear became reality when Mr. Colmes introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Colmes's yacht. During the introduction, Mr. Colmes suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better. He then left them alone in a makeshift studio on the yacht. I'd be sitting on the other side of the room like, okay, yeah, you stay over there. Yeah, so tell me about that movie, that one movie where he's in. How was it making that movie? Good? Cool? Yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna head out.
He groomed Rodney to pass him off to his friends like Cuba Gooding Jr., who is an American actor known in movies such as Men of Honor and Boat Trip. Diddy left Rodney and Cuba alone in a room together on purpose, and this photo shows Gooding with his arm around Mr. Rodney Jones. And because everyone bends at Diddy's will, Mr. Jones recalls Diddy taking no for an answer.
Wait 1 second. Mr. Colmes and Cuba Gooding Jr. moments before Mr. Jones is assaulted. As evidenced by a video of which screenshots are embedded below, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin. You gotta back the fuck up off me, Playboy. Hell no.
Alone in a room together on purpose, and this photo shows Gooding with his arm around Mr. Rodney Jones. And because everyone bends at Diddy's will, Mr. Jones recalls Diddy taking no for an answer when it was reported in 1999 that
rapper Jamal Shine Barrow was sentenced to 10 years in prison today, June 1st, in a New York court for shooting and wounding 2 people during a dispute between rap Inspirio, Sean Puffy Combs, and and another man in Times Square nightclub. Barrow admitted at trial that he pulled out a gun and fired during the fracas at Club New York on December 27, 1999. Before handing down the sentence, State Supreme Court Justice Charles Sullivan called Barrow smart, talented, and charitable, but he said he couldn't lose sight of the fact that Barrow had fired a gun in a nightclub that was...
Shine had shot up a nightclub in New York. Shine was sentenced to 10 years in prison for it. From 1999, he was released in 2010, but turns out he wasn't even the one that shot the gun that night, and Diddy was
11
the one
years?
that shot it. Diddy bragged to Rodney multiple...
On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Colmes' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Colmes displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Mr. Colmes shared that he was responsible for the shooting in a nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine. And Shine had to do 11 years for that shit? Man, I'd be pissed. Diddy's former bodyguard accuses the rapper of snitching on Shine over 1999 shooting.
Times saying he was indeed the one responsible for shooting that nightclub that night. They were at this party on screen when that happened. The indictment shows how corrupt even the police department, people that are supposed to uphold the law and protect the citizens, how corrupt they could be in terms of doing favors for very rich people. Because Diddy made it clear that he not only had power within the music industry, but also with the entire law enforcement. This person is Fahim Muhammad, who's known as Diddy's head of security.
Mr. Colmes made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. Billionaires got shooters.
Or Diddy's personal hitman. Colmes usually describes Fahim as the person who has the power to make people and problems disappear. He instructed his staff that if they were ever pulled over by police, to call Mr. Fahim Muhammad, and immediately police will leave them alone.
Wait, I was gonna
to call Mr.
Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at CRS. The LAPD was in CRS and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. Paying the cops off. Yo, what up, peon?
Mr. Fahim Muhammad, and immediately police will leave them alone. In a situation while Diddy was making his Love album on September.
Two photos showed that Jones claims was the aftermath of a shooting in a music studio restroom where a man only identified as G was shot. The photos show blood, clothes, and paper towels strewn across the restroom. Jones alleges Diddy and his crew forced him to lie about the events of the evening on September 12, 2022. The music producer alleged they were at a music writer and producer's camp at Chalice Recording Studio when Diddy's son Justin and G were having a heated conversation that ended up in the restroom. Jones says gunshots rang out shortly after the people gathered around the restroom when he noticed G was bleeding and was afraid he might be shot next. He was the only one that assisted G and got him to the ambulance, with Diddy allegedly telling people to say the shooting happened outside the studio. The lawsuit includes a screenshot from a news article that reported the shooting happened outside the studio, which Jones says is incorrect. Right, because Mr. Muhammad was, and his connections was twisting things.
September 12, 2022, at Chalice Recording Studio, him and his son Justin had gotten into a heated argument with a 30-year-old man named Mr. G. Soon, they'd move the argument from the studio into the bathroom, but thereafter, gunshots would ring out and someone would be shot. After the shooting, a crowd gathered around the restroom, and there was Mr. G lying on the restroom floor, shot in the fetal position. Despite being the one who shot, Diddy came up with a plan, instructing everyone to lie to the police, saying he had nothing to do with the shooting, and Mr. G was shot outside by a drive-by assailant. Pictures that I won't be showing show the aftermath of the shooting, where it was blood on the floor. I'm guessing Mr. G survived, but it even says Diddy did hire a cleaning crew to.
Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at CRS. The LAPD was in CRS and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the, okay, so I read that. Mr. Jones had no reason to disbelieve Mr. Colmes, as he had seen firsthand through the shooting of G and the subsequent silence of the LAPD and the media that Mr. Colmes indeed had the power to harm him. So pretty much in the, when Diddy forced Jones to witness, to stand there and while he shows off all of his guns and talks about how he got away with shooting people, it's kind of like a threat. because I'm guessing at this point, since Mr. Jones kept trying to leave and kept trying to like not be, it was showing that he wasn't okay with everything that Diddy was doing. He's like, all right, look, man, I can harm you and get away with it. The LAPD spent hours in CRS after the shooting of G, yet there were no arrests. Mr. Jones witnessed the LAPD in the restroom pictured above, yet no arrests were made. The morning after the shooting, Mr. Jones and several others arrived at CRS and G's blood was still on the floor in the restroom. Mr. Colmes hired a cleaning crew to clean it up. Defendants, Ethiopia, Habedum Ariam, Lucian Charles Grange, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Music Group aided, abetted, and profited off Sean Combs' RICO enterprise. Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Grange visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California. TikTok is one of the most important short video platforms in the world, has a significant impact on the federal global music today. It is believed that the artists are paying more and more attention to producing music suitable for dissemination on TikTok due to failed contractual renewal negotiations between Universal and TikTok. A lot of music's on it.
Come and clean the studio's bathroom after this happened. Later, because of what happened with Mr. G and Diddy in the studio, Mr. Fahim Muhammad, with his connections to the LAPD, was contacted. He lied to LAPD, strengthening the cover-up, saying that G was indeed shot outside of the studio. Without any investigation, law enforcement believed it. It was even reported that Sir Lucian Grange, the CEO of Universal Music Group, who literally controls many of the music labels and music artists that we listen to, was also involved in Diddy's freak-off activities. It's said that with his huge line of credit, meaning a lot of money to his name, credit card that doesn't run out, he paid for and attended several of Diddy's listening parties in his.
According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Grange visited Mr. Combs at his house, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Defendant Grange sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by defendants Mr. LR and UMG. As evidence above, these parties had sex workers and underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Grange knew, or should have known, that Mr. Colmes was drugging the attendants through laced bottles of De Leon tequila and Ciroc vodka, or orange juice and grape juice or whatever. Laced bottles of those. It is no secret that Mr. Colmes had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Colmes. Well, they could have been like, shit, I want to see you drink from this, and then you pour me a cup from the bottle that you drink. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Grange had a duty and obligation to ensure that sex workers and underage girls were not present. That was part of his duty to ensure that they weren't there, but looks like he failed at that. That Mr. Colmes was not spiking the alcohol with date rape drugs, or he just had the responsibility to say that and not actually ensure it. On YouTube channel, The Art of Dialogue, former bodyguard Gene Deal exposed Mr. Colmes' pill mixing method used to spike cranberry juice and orange juice.
That with his huge line of credit, meaning a lot of money to his name, credit card that doesn't run out, he paid for and attended several of Diddy's listening parties in his LA mansion. Rodney recalls that when he comes to Diddy's home, they disappear for hours into Diddy's bedroom, and as said above, underage girls and spiked drinks were always present at these homes. The report compares his day-to-day manager, which they call KeiD, known as Christina Karam.
Let's see. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Habti Miriam, I don't know if I'm saying that right, probably not, had a duty and obligation to ensure that these sex workers and underage girls were not present. But not only Mr. Grange had that duty and obligation, but this guy did as well. And that Mr. Colmes was not spiking the alcohol with day rape drugs. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Colmes, he witnessed Mr. Colmes display and distribute guns from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all black. Man, Mr. Jones must be glad that he made it, that he survived those 13 months and made it out.
As the Ghislaine Maxwell of Jeffrey Epstein. Jones also witnessed Diddy distribute firearms from his bedroom closet to individuals dressed in all black. Because of YouTube's guidelines, you know how they are with things like this, and I won't be showing 2C or diving too deep into it, but just know it's a pink substance that was put into these drinks that they were drinking. 2C is the pink powder that Diddy
Oh, well, I was gonna show it, but I guess this is kind of showing it right now. This is it right here. So I don't need to look it up.
takes that even all drinks that they were drinking. 2C.
So you walk around with a pouch of, or a fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana, gummies. Let's see. And 2C, a pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and cocaine. It's important to defendant Karam to have Mr. Colmes' drug of choice immediately ready when he asks for it. A drug meal? Well, not drug. Well, like I don't know. Anyway, defendant Karam ordered sex workers and prostitutes for Mr. Colmes. Defendant Karam ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Colmes. Excuse me. And celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in his homes in LA, New York City, and Miami. On multiple occasions, defendant Karam forced Mr. Jones to carry Mr. Colmes' drug pouch against his will. What the fuck? So even this guy had power over Mr. Jones as well. As the chief of staff, defendant Karam was instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO enterprise. Defendant Karam had the following individuals execute the following tasks for the RICO enterprise. Stevie J recruits sex workers and attendants and participates in freak-offs. Justin Colmes solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers would engage in freak-offs. Brendan Paul works as Mr. Colmes' mule. He acquires and distributes Mr. Colmes' drugs and guns.
Is the pink powder that Diddy takes that even all his housekeepers are instructed to keep in pouches just for whenever he needs it.
Holy shit.
Under that, a list of names were listed and the things each staff did were mind-blowing. For example, Stevie J recruited streetwalkers and participated in Diddy's freak-off parties. Justin Colmes, Diddy's very own son, engaged in the freak-offs too, knowing about the young
underage girls
and spiked drinks. Brendan Paul, who worked as Diddy's weapon mule, transported guns and substances from Mexico and distributed all of them to Diddy. Frankie Santella, who carried the cash around, paid Brandon for these illegal stuff. Moy Buan, who goes around and hires street workers, attended and participated in these freak-offs. And it gets even worse here because
while leaving and traveling with Mr. Colmes, Mr. Jones discovered that Mr. Colmes has hidden cameras in every room of his homes. Holy shit. So he could easily use that footage for blackmail. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Colmes has recordings of defendants Lucian Charles Grange, Ethiopia H, as well as other celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes. Upon information and belief, these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent. And as is the case with the homosexual tape of Stevie J that Mr. Colmes provided to Mr. Jones, Mr. Colmes possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Holy shit. I guess these are the missing tapes or some, upon information that and belief due to this treasure trove of evidence he has in his possession, Mr. Colmes believes that he is above the law and is untouchable. Upon information and belief, Mr. Colmes employs Jose Cruz as his IT director. This writer has spoken to several former employees of Mr. Colmes who confirmed that Jose Cruz is the gatekeeper to all of Mr. Colmes' recordings. Okay. Upon information and belief, Jose Cruz intentionally hides behind the camera and from social media and the internet due to all of the incriminating acts he was required to record for Mr. Colmes.
As Mr. Jones discovered that Diddy had hidden cameras in every corner of his house, and those hidden cameras had several celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and even known athletes participating in some crazy stuff, which I believe is what the FBI were looking for. Worse, every one of those individuals were probably recorded without their knowledge. So what Diddy now has is some compromising, career-ending, world-shaking footages if they ever touch the light of day. Do you think they'll touch the light of day? Like, with those videos, do you think they would come out sometime? I don't think so. But because of this, I'm sure many people are shaking in their boots right now, hoping that their tapes aren't released. Because as a result of this lawsuit alone, Meek Mill, whose rap image is based around being tough, he's named in Diddy's lawsuit as a redacted rapper who did things that 50 Cent was saying with Diddy. And remember when 50 Cent said Diddy took him shopping?
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I can.
Hold on real quick. Didn't Diddy put out like a video recently saying, if you fuck with me, let me know, because I just want to know who fucks with me or something like that? Like, I'm wondering if the people that he's got recordings of also like had to have called in and let him know, hey, yeah, we're still cool, I still fuck with you, just so that, just in case he could threaten to release the videos that he has of them.
No longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner thieves in theaters.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, yo, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about? That's the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like, he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say?
I do gotta admit, cause like something like, nah, but when are me and you gonna party? That's something like a guy would normally say to a girl, right?
Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
And yeah, that wasn't too far from the truth, because I know Meek Mill's fans are livid right now, because it's been said that Meek Mill and Diddy were engaged in some brotherly love and even sometimes appearing outside in matching clothes like couples. And even though Meek Mill grew up spitting bars, I'm curious to what else he was spitting, because since Meek Mill's career fell from these documents alone, imagine who might suffer from this same consequences depending on who shows up in those tapes. I mean, like, this could implicate British royals like Prince Harry, because here he's seen with Diddy. Respected former presidents like Barack Obama, because here he's seen with Diddy. Large company CEOs like Lucian Grange, because he's in the lawsuit. Athletes like LeBron James, because there's a video of LeBron floating around right now that's him dancing with Diddy or in the same room with Diddy.
Oh boy.
People like Justin Bieber,
Man, if you ever get invited to a Diddy party, go ahead and buy yourself a chastity belt before you go.
who I still don't know what he was doing in that video that I showed you earlier. Christian artists like Lecrae, who said he's been to Diddy's party, and even though he didn't participate, he saw quite some stuff.
I've been to a couple Diddy parties. At one particular party, lots of big names. There was an artist there who said, hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here.
What the fuck?
And I was like, what? You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning. And I was like, now my pride kicked in, like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like,
Bro, he was trying to warn you. He was trying to, hey, bro, just trust me.
I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? It's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. And on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it, hard and heavy. And man, and I was like, oh, you know, my brain, I'm thinking, well, you know, this celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys, it was more and more people just going at it.
Respected people like Jay-Z, Usher, who even shows up in the lawsuit as a redacted R&B singer.
I knew it.
So it's like, what would happen to all of these people if the world found out about their tapes, right? And remember when Diddy said this?
Sit on the bed at night, no homo, no, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. You know, shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, just let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even. Like, I don't want it to come close to the bed. So, I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, I mean, damn, pause, but like, check this out.
We used to wake up.
Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And I'm like,
what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes. And we're streaming live. That was stupid.
I can't imagine grown men wrestling over fucking Frosted Flakes and shit like that.
So yeah, Documents talks about Usher too.
Or was Usher like a teenager back then? This is like when he first went to Puffy's flavor camp.
And it appears that it says redacted, but every detail that the document lists, it points to Usher because the details say Las Vegas residency. Who is the Las Vegas singer that had a Las Vegas residency? This is Usher. So, you know, I'm just thinking, Usher though? Usher? But at this crossroad, right, we have to look back and ask ourselves, what was Usher doing at Diddy's house at the age of 10?
Well, I mean, he was at Puffy's flavor camp, and if Diddy could groom a grown man and get ready to pass him on to Cuba Gooding Jr., then he damn sure could try grooming a 10-year-old Usher. So that's probably what was going on.
Right? This takes us to Puffy's Flavor Camp. Puffy's Flavor Camp was a camp where young aspiring music stars would come live with Diddy for a few months and get to experience the life of a rapper.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot.
He looks so uncomfortable in this shit. He's like, fuck, he got me.
Right.
He
So
showed
both
up,
Usher
trapped
and
me.
Justin Bieber were sent to Diddy at the age of 10, with both of them getting to see what was happening behind Diddy's closed door.
I moved to New York City,
and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was. But I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was.
And the lifestyle was in Usher's words, not really, you know, filled with chicks and orgies all the time. So maybe it was filled with dudes instead. I don't know.
It was pretty wild. It was,
So nobody
it was
tried
crazy.
to,
Or a mixture?
you know, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't
and-
say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary J.
okay?
Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
But you have to kind of ask, where did this all begin, right? How did Diddy get so sick? I mean, is it the power that corrupted him along the way? Is it the loss of his dad? Is it lust? Why does it seem like his whole empire is crumbling right in front of his own eyes?
Well, like I said, I mean, people get so much money, they can buy anything they want. They get bored of doing that and flying to wherever they want, and so they just start playing with people's lives and see what they can get away with. And that's kind of probably a rush of excitement for them, so they keep going.
The rise of Diddy. By many accounts, the 1970s marked one of the darkest periods in Harlem's history, with them just going through a race riot in the late 60s. The neighborhood was littered with widespread crime, poor housing, and a lack of proper education. I mean, on your screen, you're seeing how dilapidated New York looked back then. But right here was where people like Frank Lucas, who are people who deal substances, he was trading a lot and he was very known in Harlem. Among those affected by this turmoil of Harlem was a young family with the breadwinner who was Melvin Earl Colmes. He has Diddy's last name. This was Diddy's dad. And Diddy's family didn't really have much at this time, so his dad became a street hustler. He fed junkies with their necessities. He turned to the streets, became a close associate of Frank Lucas,
Pimp.
PL. However, Melvin's life would change very drastic on November 4th, 1969, when he and his wife, Janice Colmes, welcomed their first ever child, Sean John Colmes. Now, being a father, Melvin had to choose parenting, getting legal money like maybe a job, or continue dealing in the streets. If he chose the job, he would be earning a stable income without the fear of debt. But if he chose the streets, he'd be serving, making quite good money, but with the potential of getting shot and losing his life. What did
Or getting
Melvin do?
arrested.
So he made his decision, and it was the streets. And as a result of Melvin's decisions, in 1972, in the middle of a transaction, Melvin was gunned down in Central Park West in a deal gone wrong. Because of this, Diddy became fatherless, left alone with his mother, just at the tender age of 2. And as you might expect, growing up without a father in New York was no easy feat for anybody, let alone Diddy and his mom. It put them in the most terrible conditions of a cramped, dingy apartment with peeling paint and flickering lights. Diddy remembers that one day he was growing up and he woke up and there were 15 roaches all on his face.
I had like 15 roaches on my face. Don't ask me how I know it was 15, but I promise you it was more than 15, but I don't want to really like bug you out. All over my face. And I said, never again.
At the time, hip-hop was hot. Dancers spun and boomboxes blared. To cope with the loss, Diddy immersed himself in this vibrant hip-hop culture that was here at the time, and it was going to grow. And Diddy saw this, so he began studying the greats. Artists of the time like LL Cool J, KRS-One, Rakim, and Slick Rick, and Diddy began envisioning himself amongst them. At home, it wasn't such a good story though. He watched as his mother, who was now a widow, had worked tirelessly to provide for him and his sister. In school, he found himself in street fights. and he would huff and puff when he got angry, which was the reason why people started calling him Puff. And very forward in his second year at Howard University, at the disapproval of his own mom, he dropped out, turned a back on school forever. And with this decision, he's now left to make his own decision.
So man's literally started from the bottom and made it to the top. That's a good success story, but it looks like the not only the loss of his father, but also the money corrupted him, and he didn't know how to act when he gained all that money and influence, and he just seemed like he just went the path of seeing what he can get away with now that he was rich as fuck. Damn. Like, what would have happened to him if his dad never passed away? Would he just ended up following his dad through the path of crime and selling drugs and stuff like that, or would he still have gotten into music?
Either make music or starve. Which do you think he's gonna do? Chasing the dream. Diddy had worked his way up at this point, and he's now an intern at Uptown Records. Sean, known as Diddy, Sean Puffy Colmes, Diddy at the time began his path to greatness, but at this time he didn't even know he was gonna be as big as he is today. Under the guidance of Andre Harrell, he helped mold the sound of a generation. He was an A&R, discovering talents like Jodeci and Mary J. Blige.
But on that, tell me a little bit about Big Bear and why do you like working with him? Because, you know, he's not intimidated by youth, you know what I'm saying? He knows what's going on, so leaving a legacy behind. It's leaving more adults out there that's gonna teach the young, such as myself, and, you know, basically leave a legacy behind, at least something behind, you know, so go down. And Andre, I'll let him remember about, if you didn't know, the Andre Harrell over here in the middle, and people been talking about that, I've been reading about it in the New York Times, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out here that hadn't heard of him before, but they saw that article in the Times and said, okay, wow, young man's doing something. But, you know, this guy was asking what's my age. You want to know what everybody's doing, how old they are. Andre, what's happening? Tell me about the new ventures that are going on in NBA.
But what we did, we just made a vertically integrated deal, which means that we do film, television, and records. And what we are able to do now is take our record size and cross them into television and film, like a Heavy D.
He had a reputation for throwing legendary parties at the time, attracting athletes, musicians, and New York's finest. He was living the dream and he seemed destined for stardom. But what he didn't realize was that success bred envy, and after becoming an A&R executive just at Uptown, Diddy's world came crashing down when he was fired by Andre Harrell in 1993. Now,
what?
Nobody knows why Andre fired Diddy. It's just been said that it was envy, so we're gonna call it that.
Envy?
Betrayed by the man that he once called his mentor, he learned his first lesson in the music industry. Loyalty was scarce and trust was easily broken. Now, Diddy, jobless, could either choose to work another job or change his entire life by chasing his own music and creating his own path. And that's
So if getting fired by someone that he came up with or that helped him come up, and then him thinking that loyalty is scarce and things like that, could that be the reason why he would want to force loyalty by putting in those hidden cameras in his room and recording those parties? That way he could have that blackmail insurance to make sure that those people were loyal to him or didn't betray him.
what he did. He created his own path and he became a shrewd businessman, ready to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. Though the music industry chewed him, spat him out, he gave them artists, they gave him a 30-day notice, he was determined to rise stronger than ever before. So he quickly began making moves. He surrounded himself with a team of hustlers who shared his own vision and hungers for success. Together, they laid the foundation for what would become Bad Boy Records.
But you gotta appreciate the hustle. You know, you gotta appreciate the grind that he put in, the work he put in. You gotta appreciate that motivation. You know what I'm saying? But like, damn. But so where did he go wrong though? I guess it was too much. Like, cause there's also the allegations that he had something to do with Tupac's death and as well as Biggie's death. And since he owned, you know, a lot of Biggie's not records, but like I forgot what the word is called. I forgot what I'm looking for, the word I'm looking for. But he was making money off of Big's albums and shit. So damn. And then of course there was the possibility, the rumors that Biggie was getting ready to try to leave Bad Boy Records, and so he, Puffy took him out before he was able to do that, so that he could just keep those records that he had control over, and he was profiting off of. And of course, as if a rapper dies, those records become even more expensive, or valuable, I should say.
Puffy, Fat Bob, Freddy's here.
Yeah. What up, Bob? Goes on, baby. Everything is all good in the hood.
Yeah. The headquarters right here, kid.
Yeah.
Bad Boy Entertainment. I named it Bad Boy because I wanted to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, they consider you like kind of bad. Nothing negative, nothing like hardcore. Just, I didn't want to be regular. I didn't want to just make records. I didn't want to just make money. I wanted to make history and making music that's timeless. Music that's gonna be around when I'm not here, when my kids ain't here. Things that, really affect way of life.
Under the Bad Boy banner, legends were born. The Notorious B.I.G., Craig Mack, Faith Evans, each one a testament to Diddy's eyes for talent. Bad Boy first releases Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack and Ready to Die by Biggie Smalls. And at this time, this was the time of CDs, meaning they were literally selling physical copies. Streams weren't available, right? Spotify wasn't a thing. So, in these songs that I just said they made, they went platinum, meaning they cashed in millions of dollars. So because these songs, I looked up how much a CD was, and it was 99 cents to $3 per CD. And these songs, they went platinum, like I said, meaning they sold 1 million times. And those platinum albums, those platinum singles and chart-topping hits just solidified who Diddy was in the music industry.
Yo, MTV Raps, and we up in the house that these bad boys built, you know what I'm saying?
No
Puffy and crew. So Puffy.
No, this is my crew than me.
This is family.
Artists always first, baby.
Puffy, take it away.
Check it out. This my man, the Notorious B.I.G.
What's the deal? What's going on?
This my man, Craig Mack. It's my foundation, you know what I'm saying? It's my life right here. We all need each other to live and breathe, and that's the way we treat each other.
And him and his team continued dominating the charts. When you talked about Bad Boy, you have to talk about Biggie.
I mean, that was a good introduction, like him being like, nah, it's my crew first and then me, like making sure that they get recognized and things like that. That's always good to do, so you can, like, I don't know, say get that loyalty from them, but at least get that acknowledgement from them, so that the artist and everything feels feels special and everything. But I wonder if he was just using that to his advantage to keep hold on them.
Same year, 1995, Bad Boy got more platinum releases by Total and Faith Evans, even under Diddy's guidance. So all of these millions is coming in. Platinum albums, and Diddy is getting richer and richer and richer. Under Diddy's guidance, the label continued to expand, right? They added producers like Easy Mo B, Chucky Thompson, and D-Dot. But success was just going to come at a price. For 3 years leading up to 1995, rap had been dominated by the West Coast, with labels such as Death Row Records leading the scenes, making their millions. And so, Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records, who are on the West Coast, were going to clash. And as the rap world started taking sides, tensions continued to escalate between Bad Boy and Death Row. Suge Knight, who was the CEO of Death Row, and Diddy, who was the CEO of Bad Boy, they wouldn't get along. Suge held Diddy responsible, and at this time, a lot of shady things we can say have already started to happen. People are dying already because millions are involved, and these are street guys. So Suge, he held Diddy responsible for the shooting of his friend Jake Robles. I'm guessing Jake Robles was probably somebody who's going to do something for Suge that would make him come on top of Diddy, and since they're competing, Diddy doesn't want this to happen. So Diddy probably takes out Jake Robles, and Jake was gonna help Suge advance his career. Diddy took out Jake. Because of this, tension escalated. Full-blown war. Diss tracks left and right. I mean, it was a war between the two coasts.
First of all, I'd like to thank God. Second of all, I'd like to thank my whole entire Death Row family on both sides, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to tell Tupac to keep his guards up. We ride with him.
You have people.
The one other thing I'd like to say, anyone
Snoop.
out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record. Then she come to Death Row.
Like, imagine if Diddy and Suge like actually were cool with each other, and imagine that they wanted to help each other grow because you know, to quote J. Cole, love to see a black man get paid. Like, imagine if they just wanted to help each other grow, and so that, you know, simply because, even if it doesn't matter if they're from the East or the West, but simply because they're both of the same race and they just want to see each other grow and want to see each other get paid and want to see, and you know, for unity, for unity's sakes, instead of trying to compete with each other and take each other out. Like, imagine where we would be now, how much, like, what kind of music we would have right now.
The situation escalated when Suge's very own Tupac alleged that Bad Boy, specifically Biggie and Diddy, were responsible for his own shooting in November 1994 at Quad Studios in Times Squares. Tupac will go on to release Hit 'Em Up in 1994.
I'm pretty sure that was a staged robbery, like they staged it as a robbery and was actually attempted murder instead.
At Quad Studios in Times Squares. Tupac will go on to release Hit 'Em Up, dissing Diddy and Biggie. Tensions will soar very high, and when there's tension that's this high, somebody has to cool it down. Tragically, this feud and tension will take a deadly turn.
Like, apparently, from what I remember, Tupac and Biggie weren't even, from what I remember from watching other videos, Tupac and Biggie weren't even like, well, Biggie didn't even really have beef for Tupac, but like the song Who Shot Ya was recorded before Pac was even, you know, shot, before that staged robbery and attempted murder was even done. Like, it was recorded months before that, but it was released afterwards and marketed as kind of a diss towards Pac.
Tupac would be shot in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996, and he'd pass away just 6 days later on September 13th. The news would send shockwaves throughout the entire hip-hop community.
Near fatal shooting, but he couldn't survive a second. Rap star Tupac Shakur died last night after a brief life in a rough business.
When he was shot in this car in Las Vegas, he was out on bail while appealing a 4.5-year sentence for sexual assault.
West Coast is shaken. The East Coast probably celebrating, leaving many to wonder if Bad Boy were the ones responsible for Tupac's death.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Just months later, on March 9th, 1997, Biggie himself would be gunned down in Los Angeles, California.
The second time in 6 months, a star in the often brutal world of gangster rap has been gunned down. This time it was Notorious B.I.G.
The rapper known as Biggie Smalls was shot several times as he sat in his Chevy Suburban early this morning. The rapper known as Biggie
has been gunned.
Does she know that her hairstyle is doing the wave? Okay, never mind.
Gunned down. This time it was Notorious B.I.G.
The rapper known as Biggie Smalls was shot several times as he sat in his Chevy Suburban early this morning outside the PaperSin Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. Smalls had been attending a party honoring winners of the Soul Train Music Awards, at which he made an appearance Friday night.
What's up, Cali?
After the shooting, Smalls was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead.
The West Coast must have revenged, right? And this crime of what happened to Biggie remains unsolved to this day. Just like that, both Tupac and Biggie, one of the 2000's greatest artists, were dead. The deaths of both rap icons came as a shock to so many. It made many people to speculate about the nature of their deaths. In the wake of Biggie's tragic death, Diddy found himself at a crossroad. He had lost his best friend, his prodigy, and it shook him to the core. But it also fueled his determination to want to even achieve more, to want to gain more power, and succeed better than he has. At this point, you can say that Diddy's net worth was around $20 million. Diddy put his grief into music. His solo album, No Way Out, and the tribute song, I'll Be Missing You, became instant hits, topping charts and solidifying Diddy as a solo artist. But he was more of a businessman than an artist, right? And all of a sudden, and I'm guessing all of this death around him continued to pile up, and Diddy began drinking and engaging in fights, landing him in some hot water with the feds. In 1999, he was arrested for beating another music executive with a chair.
Now, again, it's still kind of alleged that Diddy was behind both those deaths, behind Pac and Biggie's. So I don't know if he started drinking because of all the death around that was happening around him, and you know, him feeling some type of way about it. But maybe he started drinking because it was more like he's just worried that he was gonna get caught, or worried that somebody was gonna find out, or he was just like feeling that he had to do it because for himself or whatever. I don't know.
And a champagne bottle. He was then forced to pay a fine and take anger management classes. That same year, he won't listen. He was involved in shooting a club in Manhattan where he was attending a party with his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. Witnesses said they saw Diddy with a gun, but it was his friend, Shine, who caught the charges and faced 10 years in prison for. In the lawsuit today, Diddy admits to being the one who shot the gun that night. Thanks to his legal trouble, what was seen as Diddy spiraling out of control, many artists began to leave Bad Boy Records. They weren't getting paid, yet all of these millions were coming in, yet they weren't seeing nothing. I mean,
yeah, that's something
this
wrong
led
with that.
to a decline in album sales. Artists were leaving. Artists are dead at this point. And this looked like it would be Diddy's end in the music business. And now with all of these records and the masters that Diddy owned from these artists, and he's generating—
that's what I was looking for, the masters that he owned.
income from them whenever they listened and bought CDs. Diddy now owned a stake in the hip-hop industry, and companies that wanted to use these artists' music, they would have to consult with Diddy to use the music. This is how Diddy really got rich. Diddy would begin talking with the Warner Music Group, Elektra Records, and they would get into a deal that would ultimately fall through. So Bad Boy started signing distribution deals with Universal, which is Disney. I mean, he's signing with Disney. Disney is rich, my guy. Under the terms of the deal, he said that he wanted to own 100% of his own company, while Universal would just handle the distribution, provide marketing and promotional support. So they gave him that. They gave him 100%, and Diddy, because he owned so many artist catalogs, he was just getting richer and richer by the day. And just like that, Diddy had gone from a washed up producer to one of the richest men in America. I mean, at this time, you can say his net worth was around 50 to 60 million. At this time, having a net worth over that, despite growing up fatherless, experiencing betrayal from Andre Harrell, and even losing one of his best friends in a gang war, Diddy persevered, emerging as one of the first in the music industry to mix hip-hop, business, and luxury together.
Again, you gotta respect the hustle, the mentality, and the grind that he put in. But shit, man. All that, like, he eventually just got corrupted, and I don't know when it happened, but damn, yo. You still gotta respect the work that he put in. Like, even if you don't like him for what he is, for what he's known for doing now, when he was coming up, you gotta respect what he did to make it.
His fashion label, Sean John, became known for high-end menswear. He made some money from that. He promoted brands of vodka, tequila, hosted exclusive parties in the Hampton, and all of this just gave Diddy more and more accolades, and he was just known, too rich, too powerful, and by the day he was getting more and more power. And although he was no longer in his 90s prime, Diddy remained a cultural icon. I mean, loved by many. He gained the respect of fans and the industry as a whole. However, as Diddy basked in his glow of his achievements, a sense of invisibility, I think, is what took hold of him. Especially a belief that he was God and untouchable. You know, when you start making so much money, you begin to think you're above everybody else. You begin to think you're above God himself, and it becomes your downfall. And little did he know that that pattern of thinking was about to be his downfall. And we have to ask, right? What would Diddy do once he does get caught? Or even if he is gonna get caught? And I doubt he's gonna get caught, but what would he do if he does?
Well, apparently during the raid on one of his houses, like, I think one of his sons was there and he just let him get busted.
Sociopathic tendencies. People like Reggie Wright has made their predictions on what Diddy would do if he gets caught.
But he need to build a spot over there in Bali for his boy Puffy. I warn KeiD to take his ass over there. There's no extradition laws over there. So I'm warning you now, Puffy. Take your ass over there. Reggie prediction. I know Puffy is smart enough, and he probably done already cleaned his houses. But sexual predators, what do they do? And we'd be like, damn, why? They treat their sex tapes like, yeah, remember that song, Me and My Girlfriend, that Pac did? What he was talking about? What was Pac talking about, y'all? And that, do y'all really know what he was talking about? For those of y'all know what he's talking about, he was talking about a gun, but sexual predators is what hold on to their tapes, and cops know that. So I wouldn't be surprised if some storages or some of Puffy properties be getting raided real soon, because they need to get to those tapes. They get one of those tapes with him with those little people that's been making the accusations. Woo, man. Done. But Puffy the type, he'll blow his brains out, guarantee y'all. Or do like he did on that corkscrew lie, how he did. We know what you did, Puff. Misa told us, nigga, you slit your wrist. He gonna do something stupid like that.
No, Diddy is wild.
Damn.
But is he wild enough to do that? You know, part of me believes he will work his magic. I mean, he knows politicians, right? These are people that can get him out of tough situations like this because of ties, this close ties that they all have together. Do something for me, I do something for you. And that's a video I plan to make. You know, politicians, they sometimes use rap to get into positions of power. Like presidents using Diddy to connect to the hip hop audience and the black people.
Like how Trump used Lil Pump. I think it was Lil Pump. And no, not I forgot who it was. Damn it. Lil something to try to connect with the black audience. But on the statement about, you know, the question of whether Diddy would harm himself if he was actually caught, if he was cornered and had nowhere else to go, no way else out, no way to shift things or turn things in his favor, he might do something like that. He might,
and get them on their side. It's a whole lot of stuff. I do find this entire situation sad, considering, you know, how such little amount of us black folks get to that point of success, and just because of lust, the inability to control yourself, you're seeing it all burn down right in front of your eyes, right? And I saw a video on Twitter with the guy making a great point too.
Dude created one of the greatest musical legacies. A family, became a billionaire, and ruined his legacy, throwing it all away because he couldn't control his callous sexual urges. The common downfall of the man. Of course, we don't know for sure if Diddy's guilty or not, so because it hasn't gotten to court, but there's a bigger picture and a lesson here for black boys and men. It is commonly a downfall for men, even before they become men. And I do think it's necessary to have this conversation because Oftentimes, black boys aren't taught anything as it relates to their sex life or when those hormones and urges start. If anything, we may be taught use a condom if you do, or don't bring no kids home. So there's not really a framework for what to do with your sex drive. And because of that, and because of a culture that kind of encourages and says that manhood is wild, reckless sex, racking up your numbers, getting as many as possible, this can turn to a much larger issue where there isn't any type of restraint or management as it relates to sexual urges, and it can turn into the situation that we see being asserted with Diddy and in other situations, because the sole focus is getting what you want out of the situation sexually without regard for risk to yourself, others, people's emotions, people's mental state, finances. We know that many men will put themselves in compromising positions due to the potential of being able to have sex in a particular situation. We go against all better judgment just because there's potential for sex, and that's something that needs to be managed rather than encouraged. But we're in a culture where for the average straight man, it's encouraged, go after it if you want it. And while there is this idea of shooting your shot and having some courage and being able to accept rejection, this does go too far for some people, and they end up in situations like this. So we want to encourage a culture of sexual discipline rather than a more hedonistic view that says life is about any pleasure that I want, forsaking all others.
And granted, Diddy did have an entire black.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, you gotta remember, Diddy's dad passed away when Diddy was still young. So, but we do need to start teaching sexual discipline, because that will be another way to where we can avoid people having like ain't shit niggas having kids with with random women all the time, and like those same random women just being abandoned by ain't shit niggas. But and also like just dudes having kids with women who are just unfit to be mothers. Like, that sexual discipline is something that we really need to start with, that everybody needs to work on.
Male operation going, but if he had better framework and guidance as a young man, possibly maybe early in his life, I don't think his life would have spiraled out of control like this, right? I also do believe Diddy is somewhat of a psychopath, and if he wasn't a psychopath as he is, I don't think he would have made it this far. We seem to reward psychopaths with such god complexes that it becomes such a thing to either ponder, maybe laugh, or even cry at. I mean, articles will even tell you that being psychopathic is a positive character trait. Okay, and the way everything is all set up is like capitalism and all of that sociopathic tendencies is what seems to win, right, by default, you know. And even though life is tough and there are a ton of things to learn, and this one thing has been one heck of a learning experience for me, you know. And another part of me thinks that if half of those 25 plus serious allegations sticks, you can expect Diddy to be going away for life.
I don't know, unless he has that much power between and influence in order to keep himself out, or to at least put himself somewhere where he still has free reign. Highly doubt it, but damn, yo, yeah, he in trouble. He in trouble. So I am looking forward to how things will play out. What's gonna happen to him? What's gonna you know, be the end result of him, and if he gets caught, how many people would he try taking down with him? Feel me? Because there's obviously those other people that were named that had a hand in, like, you know, bringing underage girls to the parties, making sure that drugs were always available, making sure that the bottles that were for the women were always laced and things like that. Like, I wonder how many other people he would try to take down with them. And if he didn't try taking them down, how many people would fall with him? So I don't know. That's I guess that's something we'll have to wait and see what happens, if it happens at all. But this video was The Real Wild World of Diddy by TUNDE. So as always, link to his video and link to his channel will both be in the description below. So be sure to check it out for your own on your own time. He's got a bunch of good videos, does great work. So shout out to him. And yeah, as far as this video goes, I'm gonna end, well, obviously gonna end it right here. We're gonna continue the live stream by playing some Sherlock, and then maybe come back and watch some Ragnar Crimson. But as always, you know what it is. Don't forget to do those 3 things that I like to ask you to do, and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace and much love to you.